Okay, so today we're working on quadratic regression. I want to make a quick video on this. I do not want you to use these two buttons on Delta Math. I want you to get used to Desmos. So Desmos will help you graph this and give you your equation, just like you'll be able to do on the EOC. And pause this video, read the question, and we are going to be using Desmos graphing to find our answer, to write an equation and find our final answer. So first thing we need to do is put our points into a table. It does not copy over well. It, for some reason, doubles it, so just make sure you put it in correctly. Might have been quicker for me to type it. I don't know. Now, this is the main part of your question. So if you typed anything in wrong, your whole question is going to be wrong. So I take a second and double check that, hey, we typed it in correctly. So just double check. It's worth the time. Because if I put one number in here wrong, the whole question is going to be wrong. Okay, it is correct. The question is telling us it is a quadratic regression equation. So remember, quadratic regression equations, well, a quadratic equation, your standard form is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. The regression equation, you have to change the equals to a tilde sign, which is you hit shift and the button above tab is your tilde sign. And you want it to be y1. To get the subscript 1, you go next to y and you just push 1. You go next to x and you put 1. You go next to the x and you put 1. And your regression equation comes up. It is telling you what A is, it is telling you what B is, it is telling you what C is. R squared is telling me that this equation that it created fits 99% of my data, 99.8% of my data, which, if you round it, is 100% of my data, which is awesome. These points are all the way up at 2,000, 5,000, so you would be zooming out a lot to get to 2,000 and 5,000, just so you're aware. Or you can go into your settings and change it. My x's, we can say, are from 0 to, it goes to 36, so I'll say 40. And that's a pretty good graph. See, it does fit most of my data. The only point that's not on my line are these two. So yeah, it does definitely fit my equation well. Wait, come back here. So when you write your equation out like Delta Math asks, make sure you round correctly. It's rounding to the nearest tenth. So y equals a, rounding to the nearest tenth, is negative 17 point, the tenth is one decimal place. So 47 is going to round to 5. Plus b, b is 861.7, round to the 10th, x, and c, minus 5071.4. If you're having trouble rounding, you can put round the number you're trying to round, negative 17.4768, and always round it to the whole number. If you put comma 0, it's still the whole number. After you put comma, you're telling it what place you want to round to. So if you're trying to round to the first decimal place, which is the 10th place, nearest 10th place is one decimal place. After the comma, you put a 1. If you're trying to round to the nearest 100th place, that's second decimal place, so after the comma, you would put 2. So since we're rounding to the 10th place, I'm going to put a 1 and that's how I got that number. And you can do it for all three of these if you need that help. Okay. So it's just a little rounding trick if you're having trouble rounding. That is our equation. Now I want to use x and y because that's what it's giving me, x and y. But then when we are trying to find the profit to the nearest dollar of $33, 33 is our price, so 33 is our x, and we're solving for y. So we need to plug 33 into this equation we just found. There's a short way to do it and a long way to do it. You could sit here and plug in 33 for x on all of these, or you can change this to f of x and then do f of 33. That's plugging 33 in for x, and you get your answer. 4307.2. 4307.2. It asks us to round to the nearest dollar. So $4,307. And there's your answer. All right. I'm going to do one more question just so you see it. If you're good, then you can stop watching the video and go do your 2 questions on your own. But I do want to show one more question if you're having trouble. So pause the video, read the question, and I'll show you how to get the equation. And we're rounding to the nearest hundredth this time. And then we're going to plug in, to find our height, we're going to plug 1.8 in for x. So let me go to my table and fill it out with the points I got. I know you don't have this question, so it's kind of boring watching a video when you don't have to actually work this question. I know that. Double check when you're plugging these numbers in. It's worth it. If you get one number wrong, your question is wrong. Your answer's going to be wrong. Everything you're going to do is going to be wrong. Okay, I already have this equation typed in once, so I don't have to type it in again. But just to show you again, how do you type it in? Y1, subscript 1, you just put a 1 in after it. You don't have to hit the down button or anything. The 1 will automatically go down. Then you put your tilde sign, so shift and then the symbol above tab, AX1 squared plus comes automatically out of your exponent, BX1, the 1 automatically goes to the subscript, plus C. There's your A, your B, and your C. This question has me rounding the equation to the nearest hundredth place. So again, if you have trouble rounding, you can say round negative 17.9012 to the hundredth place, which is the second place, second decimal place. It does. So negative 17.9 x squared plus 139.9 minus 2.53. That's it. Just so you see, negative 2.53446. And at 2 decimal places is negative 2.53. So there's my equation. And my delta math is asking me to find when it's 1.8 seconds. And I'm rounding to the nearest foot, which is the nearest whole number. So I'm going to plug in 1.8 seconds into x. I'll get my y, and I want to round that to the nearest foot. 191.29 is 191. 191 feet. And my equation, you don't want to put f of x in your equation because it said y. So you're going to put y. If you're having any trouble with this, get on Google Meet with me.